Peace and blessings, family. Brother Ali, we're going to cover some of the supreme wisdom from How to Eat to Live, book number 1, as well as How to Eat to Live, book number 2. This is 1967, and this one is 1972. I believe. Let me double check. Okay, yeah. How to Eat to Live, book 2, 1972. How to Eat to Live, book number 1. From God in Person, Master Fard Muhammad. Pardon me. Yeah, copyright 1967. This is From God in Person, Master Fard Muhammad by Elijah Muhammad, Messenger of Allah, book 1, How to Eat to Live. And this is book number 2 or volume number 2 or tome number 1 and 2. All right. I just want to quote the messenger because we're going to just look at the pros and cons of kale, if you will, and his position regarding the vegetable on kale. He explains to us on page number 4, chapter on vegetables. He says, and I quote him. Actually, I'm going to quote something. We're going to cover the part about kale, but he says some other important things in here. So I'm going to add 2 other little footnotes directly from Messenger Elijah Muhammad. He says, and I quote him, page number 4, virtually all vegetables are good to eat except collard greens and turnip salad. The roots of turnips do very well, but not the salad. He said the roots of turnips do very well, but not the salads. Cabbages are good, especially the whitehead, but not the green leaves. Cauliflower is a really fine vegetable, but take away the green leaves. There are a lot of other good vegetables that have been grafted. Let me repeat that. There are a lot of other good vegetables that have been grafted from original vegetables. Though some of the grafted vegetables are not good to eat. Though some of the grafted vegetables are not good to eat. Do not eat the vegetable called kale. Do not eat the vegetable called kale. Okay. And in this same book, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad tells us, and I quote him as I said, he said, this is page number 4 again. He said, and I quote him, there are many more vegetables you will find edible or forbidden to eat in this book, referring to How to Eat to Live, book 1, 1967. If you like, write me for information on other vegetables not mentioned here. Let me quote him one more time. There are many more vegetables you will find edible or forbidden to eat in this book. There are many more vegetables you will find edible or forbidden to eat. He's saying there are other vegetables. Keep in mind that we're on Earth. There are literally thousands of vegetables, thousands of fruits, in different genres. So his thing is, of course, he can't mention them all inside of a book. We're in different countries, different temperate zones, frigid zones, regional zones. Some places are tropical zones. Now, so there's fruits that sometimes we go down to the farm. We go straight to the farms out Lancaster. We may go to Produce Junction. We may go to a supermarket, or we may just go to a cart or something like that there, or we may go visit the Amish and they grow their own fruits and vegetables, and we may go over Jersey, what have you. Sometimes you could pick your own fruits and vegetables, but there's a lot that goes with small farms and mega farms and pesticides and grafted fruits and vegetables or GMOs and laboratory made stuff that people are patenting for the seeds, and intentional hybrids, unintentional hybrid, natural hybrids. But he explained to us virtually all vegetables are good to eat. So basically his thing is like, there are some vegetables that are, as he says, quote, edible, meaning we can eat those, and there are some vegetables that are forbidden to eat. So just because you may be a vegetarian, there are some fruits and some vegetables that are not good to eat. Kale is one of those particular vegetables, according to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He explained to us that we should not eat the vegetable called kale. I would like to quote him one more time, if you be patient with me for a moment. He explains to us also in the same book, How to Eat to Live, book number 1, 1967, except this isn't page 4, this is page number 63. Page 63, he says, and I quote, "Do not eat the vegetable kale. Do not eat the vegetable kale." So in How to Eat to Live, book number 1, on page number 4 and page number 63, this is not Brother Alif, this is Messenger Elijah Muhammad. This is the messenger's message that can guide you through this age of mess if we take heed and listen to the original direct divine teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I know that in this age of information, this technological age with the internet, we may have way more information on kale than the Honorable Elijah Muhammad could have imagined. In this day and time, we're in what the scriptures call the information, the age of information, but knowledge is totally different from wisdom. And wisdom is totally different from understanding. And divine knowledge, divine wisdom, and divine understanding is different from ordinary or mortal knowledge, mortal wisdom, and mortal understanding. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in How to Eat to Live, he explains to us that it's from God in person, Master Fard Muhammad. You may not believe in Master Fard Muhammad. Most people don't. I respect that. However, we believe, when I say we, we're saying the student followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. No matter what branch of the Nation of Islam we may claim, I wouldn't care if you're with the Honorable Brother Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Honorable Brother Minister Salas Muhammad, if you're 5% in the Nation of Gods and Earths, if you're with Royal, Solomon, Jeremiah Shabazz, or just, like me, I just, love the teachings of Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So I support anybody that support him. But regardless of our politics, regardless of the type of fruit we may be, regardless of our spiritual differences, the basic teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we have to believe in the messenger's message. We have to believe in the God that he himself believed in. He believed in the law of God who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom all praises are due forever. So my position is that I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't have a program. I don't have no divine anything. But as a student follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teachings, I just want to share his teachings with you if you would like to know what it is that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teachings is important to me. But he tells us we should not eat kale. He also explained to us, and this is in How to Eat to Live, book number 2. This is the 1972 edition of the book. He explained to us that we should, he said, but this is page number 34 and page number 35. He says, eat butter, milk, and fresh vegetables, but not your old favorite collard greens, cabbage sprouts, turnip salads, mustard salads, beet top salads, kale, etc. He said, your best vegetables are cauliflower, cabbages, not the green cabbages. If you love turnips, he's this qualifier here. He said, if you love turnips, eat the roots, not the salad. Okay. Some other vegetables we eat are as follows: Brussels sprouts, asparagus, eggplants, okra, squash, and rhubarb. Okay. Now, when it comes to the rhubarb, you got to understand that we're talking about the stem, not the root or the leaves. That's really toxic. So if you notice when he talk about cabbage, he's like, yeah, you can eat the white cabbage, but don't eat the green cabbage. We peel that stuff off. Even my grandmother, who was a Christian by faith, she used to peel that green part off. My mother used to make cabbage. Now, I mean, she makes steamed cabbage, fried cabbage. I put some hot sauce on that stuff. I used to tear it up. But she used to tear that green part off because that's a tougher part, if you will. Now, I mean, there's ingredients or natural elements in there that's a little too harsh on the digestive system. But some people love it. Some people eat it. Now, I mean, some people love kale. It's not a sin to eat kale. As the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, quote, virtually all vegetables are good to eat. But when it comes to kale, we have to be mindful that kale is very rich in vitamin K. And you got K1 and you got K2, but vitamin K thickens your blood. It can clot your blood. So if you're on certain medications, if you have certain predispositions, medical conditions, you can hurt yourself eating a lot of kale. Now, I mean, that don't mean that if I had a choice of eating a ham sandwich and some kale, naturally I'm gonna eat the kale. If I had a choice of eating some fried chicken and some kale, I'm gonna eat the kale. I might eat the fried chicken, but I should be eating the kale. I mean, but no, I ate kale before. I ate kale in smoothie. I had kale liquefied in smoothies. I ate kale raw. I ate kale steamed. I ate kale on sandwiches, and it's a little bitter, but I definitely know that kale is very rich in vitamins, nutrients, and minerals. So I understand why a lot of vegans or a lot of vegetarians like to eat kale. But I wouldn't make a meal of kale like that. I wouldn't eat a lot of kale. You know what I mean? I didn't eat kale salads, like kale with raw kale with cherry tomatoes, red onions, raw garlic. I may have some olives in there, what have you. You know what I mean? Delicious. But I also ate candy. I ate now laters. I grew up eating junk food. You know what I mean? I ate pizza, you know. But in the Nation of Islam, we avoid pork and pork products. And when we say pork products, you don't get too technical with that because that's a whole science in and of itself. You know what I mean? But when it comes to kale, I would not recommend a person intentionally go shopping looking for some kale if they can find another vegetable. You know what I mean? If we go shopping, we'll get some romaine lettuce. We might get some spring mix. We maybe get some baby spinach or something like that. You know what I mean? We never get iceberg lettuce, and it's too nutritionally poor. But if that was the only thing there, I would eat some iceberg lettuce. So we don't become dogmatic or become extreme in how to eat to live. Now, I mean, and eating to live, I've been eating to live off and on with junk in between for like 40 years now. Now, I mean, I've been in the Teachers of Honorable Elijah Muhammad since 1983, okay? And I can say that overall, like in my father's side of the family, they have high blood pressure, high cholesterol. My grandmother and them was Christians, Baptists. You know what I mean? So as a child, I ate pork. I ate all kind of junk food ever since I was a teenager. When I was like 14, I was the manager of 2 different stores. So I had all the candy. I had the keys to the store. So I had all the candy you want. When I go to school, I bring the candy. I bring the bubble gum for the girls. I got the now laters, the lemon heads, the bubs that I got all the candy you want. You know what I mean? So we used to eat a lot of junk. I used to eat cakes and pies, Tasty Cakes. Tasty Cake Factory is right there in Philadelphia. The soft mustard pretzels, white flour. I used to take Italian water ices. I used to eat all that stuff. Soda pop. Now, I mean, I met a FOI years ago, a friend of my older sister, you know, 2 twins, Dino and Mario X, Dino X and Mario X. And they was teaching my sister. I was a little young at the time, but they gave her Muhammad Speaks, and she put the Muhammad Speaks on her bedroom wall, and it was a picture of the hog, the pig, and out of his mouth was all this worms, rat, cat, and dogs, and that stuck with me like that, because I always was a finicky eater. So I'm the type of person that even when I was mentally dead, I never ate certain stuff. Like I never tasted liver. Not because I was thinking about my health. It's just I'm not eating liver. It didn't look right. I never taste chicken gizzards. I had a girlfriend, Stephanie, growing up, and I remember her mother had made some pig feet, and she had the chitlins and stuff on the plate, and she was trying to get me to taste it. They, people from down south, her stepfather was from down south, and I'm like, oh no, it didn't look right. Now I mean, it wasn't that I was looking at it like I'm Muslim as rat, cat, and dog. I was looking at it like, nah, it just don't look right. It may taste delicious, but my thing was, I'm not going to eat it because it didn't look right. It didn't smell right. I was like, nah, I'm good. Now I mean, my mom used to eat that kind of stuff. My mom used to. I remember when they eat pig feet, the thing that caught my attention was the bones would stick to the plate. So I'm like, oh, no, I know I'm not going to eat that. Now, I mean, so certain stuff, I don't eat mayonnaise. I never ate mayonnaise. Now, I mean, eggs and oils, didn't look right. Now, I mean, so it wasn't really a health thing with me or a nutritious thing or consciousness. It's just that some stuff I like, some things I didn't like. It's the same with most people. Some people, they may not like something. I used to watch on TV, the guy, he's eat all kind of stuff, but it was something simple he may not eat. Now, I mean, some people just don't like cinnamon. Some people don't like popcorn. Some people don't like butter, cheese, you know what I mean, eggs, whatever. You know what I mean? So that's an individual taste. I used to love soda. My only reason for getting off the soda was really when the twins, the FOI, they taught me about, I was a young teen, I was like 14, had acne all on my face, and he was like, brother, you use sugar? I was like, yeah. And he told me about white sugar, and he told me about soda. And I really wasn't into, I never seen How to Eat to Live and none of that. I wasn't into that like that, but I was more like, it made sense. It wasn't like some extreme health regimen that I would go under, but it made sense. Like, okay, if I want to clear my face up, stop drinking these sodas. Stop using all that white sugar in my cereal, because in the morning I pour all this sugar inside my cereal milk. So when I stopped, I saw my skin, my complexion clear up. So I was like, okay, the brother knew what he's talking about. Now, I mean, so it worked for me. So I don't think, I haven't really used white sugar, like raw sugar, open up a pack of sugar, put sugar in my food or in my car. I ain't do that in like 30, 40 years. I mean, that's just not me. You know what I mean? But I seen that my body is allergic to it. So if I put sugar in my body, it would break my face out. It would have a negative reaction in my body. I remember when I stopped eating pork, I accidentally ate something that had pork in it, and it put bumps on the roof of my body. Had a different reaction where when I had all the poisons in me, I eat some pork. I used to love pork bacon, pork sausage and eggs, and my grandmother make ham. My mom make a ham. I eat ham. I ate pork chops. You know what I mean? So I used to eat the swine and thinking that it was boss with hot sauce. It's just that I just never ate pig feet and chitlins, but I ate the nasty parts of that damn hog, you know what I mean, as a mentally dead. You know what I mean? So when it came to kale, at the time, I was deep into, I was like, probably like around 18 or 19 years old. So I was real deep into like boxing and gymnastics and martial arts and fitness. You know, that's when the FY be in a vicious extreme training. You know what I mean? So I'm into some Supreme Angel training by that time. You know what I mean? So when I was like, Dad, we can't eat kale, we can't eat corn, we can't eat collard greens. So I was like, what can we eat? I mean, it was a lot of stuff we could not eat. You know what I mean? Lima beans, black eyed peas. I used to love lima beans with hot sauce, black eyed peas. My mom didn't put the pork in it, but she used to put the turkey neck bones in there. I used to eat them turkey neck bones and black eyed peas and lima beans and uh, tacos with kidney beans and all that stuff like that there. And I was a greedy guy, even though I'm skinny. That genetically I'm skinny. My mom's side of the family, they all like thin. My aunts, all of them real thin. My uncle, my mother's brother was a thin guy. So I could eat and I won't gain weight. But that don't mean that I'm eating to live. It's just that genetically sometimes that works in your favor. Now, I mean, it's just on my mom's side of the family, we just happen to have that gene. Now, I mean, we had that African, German, Blackfoot Indian gene all in us. You know what I mean? So that combination of those three, you know what I mean, just balanced it out. But I did notice at one time I had high blood pressure and high cholesterol. So much so that my doctor was like, you're going to have to take medication. And I was, trying to understand. I didn't know much about it at the time. So I was like, well, what causes the high cholesterol? He said, oh, it's basically the meat. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay. Elijah Muhammad teaches us that by nature, we're vegetarians. So I was like, okay. First thing I did was I took the medicine from the doctor because I didn't, know much. I didn't, I had to learn. But when I started reading How to Eat to Live from beginning to end, it made perfect sense. It's like, oh, this man knows what he talks about, not just in the book, not just in a religious or Islamic sense, but in a scientific sense. Like when you get into fitness, now, I mean, it was like, oh, so I was like, let me get away from medicine and practice what I preach. Let me get into how to eat to live. So we got deep into how to eat to live. I went years eating one meal a day. I used to eat one meal every 3 days. I went 7 days without eating or drinking anything. We was deep into fasting. I was a vegan for years, so much so it almost killed me at one time. I was so detoxed that my doctor, I took a banana one time, and I mean vegan, like no butter, no eggs, no cheese, no meats, none of that. You know what I mean, for years. But when you're in dirty environments, in a dirty world, in the belly of the beast, your immune system could be so clean that it's like you're like the guy in the plastic bubble. So I took the banana one time and didn't rinse the banana off. I just took the banana and peeled it and ate the banana thinking like, okay, I'm eating my vegan fruit. So I ate the banana not thinking bananas don't grow in the United States of America. This banana is from another country. Who knows what pesticides, who knows what farm it came from? You know what I mean? Who knows what processing it went through it? By this time, I didn't know that they pick bananas while they green and put them in bags and ultraviolet lights to stop it from spoiling and slowing down, the spoilage of the fruit. And they doing all this crazy stuff. And then I start noticing, like, when you look at the case of the apples had ingredients on the case. I was like, why is it ingredients on the apples? They was like, these apples is mixed with this and they got dipped in wax and all this other stuff. So it's like, yo, so even though you're a vegetarian or even though you're practicing how to eat to live, I'm eating, at the time, I'm eating one vegan meal a day. Now, I mean, I'm like the problem book. I'm 6'1", 150 pounds, solid muscle. Now, I mean, I do 1,000 push-ups, 1,000 crunchies, 1,000. That's how fruit used to work. Not that I love doing it. I used to hate that, but the FOIs, I know them dudes was machines. Now, I mean, like this FOI Farrakhan used to be like, not Minister Farrakhan, but FOI, no name Farrakhan. We call him Slip, good boxer, Supreme Captain Calvin, and them dudes was they was some military. Them dudes was trained. I mean, brother Esan Samad, Carl 17X Jackson. Now, I mean, them brothers, my elder, he used to be like, oh, bro, we're gonna go on a fast for 3 days, and it's like, it was a beautiful experience, but like any novice, I mean, you don't want to do it. I don't want to get up early in the morning and do all these vicious stretches and crunchies and leg stretches and push-ups and, oh my good, lift weights and running and, you know what I mean? But the more you do it, the easier it gets, the stronger you get. You know what I mean? And then once you build your resistance up, you build your mind and your body up, now you want it. It's like, man, it's hard learning these lessons. But once you get them lessons, that's all you want to do. You want to build on lessons all day. They come easy. Now, you know, if you don't work out, you get sick if you don't work out. Know what I mean? But I took and peeled that banana, and my throat and my lips swelled all up. It almost killed me. Know what I mean? They rushed me to the hospital. The doctor gave me a little shot, and ain't nothing happened. So then the nurse gave me a shot. Nothing happened. So then she had to call the doctor. The doctor rushed in there, and they had to give me this long, big needle. And as soon as they injected with that needle, my lips and stuff went right down. So then she started questioning, like, you allergic to stuff? I'm like, no, I'm not allergic. She's like, what, did you eat this? I couldn't picture what I ate that could have did that. Then it dawned on me. I ate a banana. She's like, did you rinse the banana off, wash it off? I was like, no, I ain't washed it off. I just peeled it. It was a banana. It's inside the skin. If it was an orange, I wouldn't wash it off. If it was something like some grapes or an apple, I would have washed. If it was a peach or something, I would have washed it off. But it never dawned on me that it's pesticides outside the banana. And when you touch that banana, you're putting the pesticides on your hand. And when you peel it, then you break a piece. Now you're putting these pesticides directly in your mouth. And I'm born with summer allergies, so I might rub my eye, whatever. You know what I mean? But once it get in your immune system, it causes chaos, especially if you been detoxing from processed foods and meats and things of that nature there for a long time. I mean, so it's pros and cons in it. So it made me get deeper into how to eat to live. And when I start looking at the spiritual sciences of how to eat to live, it made me appreciate and grow to respect and love the life-giving teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So when I speak about Kale, I want you to understand that I actually used to be deep into this, like everything he taught in here. I was like, I went into the math. I did the math on it. I did the research of science. It's real. It made sense. It was logical. It was not some religious mumble jumble. It was in harmony with the universal order of things. It made sense for the human being. So when Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches not to eat kale, even though it's nutritious and vitamin K, I can see how the herbs or the vegetables are for healing. Like, it's like medicine. Like, yeah, you may need some kale. Maybe you just went through surgery. Maybe your blood is thin. Know what I mean? But that don't mean that you should eat kale. He said, don't eat kale. So my thing is like, I'm not going to eat kale. And a lot of people used to eat kale. And then I start realizing and learning that there's a lot of people in the United States that suffer kale poisoning. It's an ancient vegetable in cold climates over in Europe. They have kale parades. They literally worship kale in antiquity. Know what I mean? So you have to be careful with that vegetable kale. There's all types of kale. Know what I mean? I hear some people ask about grafted fruits and vegetables. And as I quoted from page number 4, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad explained that there are grafted vegetables. They are grafted fruit. I would venture to say that I wouldn't say 99%. I would say 100% of every piece of fruit and every vegetable on earth in 2021 is a hybrid. It's not the original. I mean, like if you've seen original kale, it'd be a little mustard green. If you've seen some real broccoli, that thick broccoli, real broccoli look like a thin blade of grass. We don't have original fruits and vegetables because the way nature is, nature naturally produces hybrid. Mother Nature naturally, the Holy Quran says, do you not see how we send the winds fertilizing? So if you have cross-pollination, the wind blowing, the bird come over here and eat some of this corn and fly over here and defecate over here. Now you got a mixture of this corn with this other corn. So now you see different types of corn. So things can happen naturally, and the fruits and vegetables that's grafted or naturally hybrids, they basically generally could still be good for us to eat. But at the same time, maybe they're not. So we have to do the math. We have to do the research. We have to investigate and analyze, deputize, and scrutinize what we put in our mouths. So I want you to look at How to Eat to Live, Book 1, and How to Eat to Live, Book number 2, from God in Person, Master Fard Muhammad, as taught by Messenger Elijah Muhammad. And everything that God says that we should not do, we should take heed of. Even if our soul is willing and our flesh is weak, we have to understand that it's not that it's not true, it's just that we don't have the strength or the discipline to carry certain things into practice. And How to Eat to Live, Book 1 and 2, is designed so that our people as a whole, it has to be simplified. You know what I mean? When you're dealing with the masses, you want to keep it simple. You know what I mean? You know how they say kiss, keep it simple, stupid. So we have to make it where if you got a newborn baby, you got a 3-year-old, you got a 15-year-old hungry guy, you got a 10-year-old ballerina, you got a 28-year-old guy, a 17-year-old girl trying to watch her weight, you got a 48-year-old person, a 90-year-old. They all can't eat the same food. We can't, I mean, some people could eat spicy stuff. Some people can't. Some people got ulcers. Some people don't. I mean, so we have to, you know, balance it all out and make it fit our individual collective needs and wants. Now, I mean, we eat just not for nutrition. We eat because our eyes, we follow our eyes, our appetite. We like the flavor or the taste of certain foods. You know what I mean? So all those things go into what we eat and what we don't eat. But we should balance it all out. You know what I mean? I consider myself a sometimes vegan, because sometimes I'd be like, maybe, you know, like, we don't really eat a lot of meat, but if I do, but we don't look at it like it's a sin to eat meat. If I eat some meat, it'll be like some lean fish, some baked chicken, maybe some cheese or some eggs. I never really was a milk drinker because I really can't process milk too good. I really just don't like milk, but I can eat some ice cream. You know what I mean? I can eat butter, you know, but the thing is, I don't eat that stuff every day. And doing that, I noticed that the stuff will balance out. Now, I mean, I noticed that when I practice How to Eat to Live, now I mean, like, I ain't been on cholesterol or blood pressure medicine in over 40 years now. Now, I mean, and one funny thing, I remember the doctor, I was like, what about the blood? He's like, oh, avoid stress. A black man in America, I'm gonna avoid stress. Now, I mean, but the thing is that once you get into prayer, once you get into meditation, not prayer to a mystery God, but prayer is a noun, it's a person, place, or thing. So a person being in a certain place doing something answers their own prayers. But you get that peace of mind and contentment, that money, that good home, and all walks of life, if you will. So it all balances out. Now, I mean, it definitely balances out. Now, I mean, and I'm thankful to Almighty God, Allah, who came to person, Master Fard Muhammad, for his messenger, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, for blessing me to be able to read their supreme wisdom, their divine wisdom, because I don't even think I would still be here if it wasn't for the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding and insight that I gained from How to Eat to Live, book number 1 and book number 2. And I definitely recommend, if you never read this, read How to Eat to Live, book 1 and book 2. Whether you follow the messenger or not, good information in here. Peace and blessings, family.